The objective of the load position is to load parts onto the paint line. The equipment used includes a monorail, a prime mover walk behind lift assist, and a pallet mover/jack. The tools used are band cutters. The materials used are pallets and a variety of metal parts that need to be painted. The parts observed were table legs. The personal protective equipment used includes cotton gloves with rubber palms. The work environment is an inside work environment with heat and no air conditioning. An air sock brings heat or fresh air into the work area. The worker observed was 5 feet 8 inches tall. The work tasks for the paint line loading position begin by using the prime mover to get a pallet of parts and move the pallet to the load position. Next, the prime mover is used to raise the pallet, and the worker will then use band cutters to cut the banding material. Next, the bands are removed and then placed in the garbage. Workers then cut and remove the tag from the pallet, which is then placed on the prime mover. The worker will then get and lift the part, walk to the monorail, and position the part on the monorail hooks. Workers then walk back to the prime mover and repeat this process for all parts. Next, the worker will lift and push-pull the pallet along the floor to the stack of pallets where they will position the pallet. Finally, the worker gets the pallet jack and repositions the pallets of parts for loading as needed. There were several ergonomic risk factors observed during the paint line load process. Repeated and sustained exertions were rated as a medium pace. Hands were in constant steady motion and exertion to get and position parts on the paint line monorail and to operate the material handling equipment. Brief pauses in hand activity were observed when walking to the material handling equipment without carrying parts. Sustained exertions included continuous standing and walking. Forceful exertions were required to lift, carry, and position parts on the paint line monorail. To lift, push, and position pallets. To push the pallet jack and to cut packing straps using the band cutters. Awkward postures were present and included torso-lateral bending and wrist extension while operating prime mover controls. Torso-lateral bending, torso flexion, and extended arms to pick up table legs from the prime mover. Severe torso flexion to pick up parts from the pallet when positioned on the floor. Torso flexion to pick up the pallet and while cutting the tag. Elevated arms to position the pallet on the stack of pallets. Finally, wrist extension to cut the banding material. The mechanical or localized contact stress observed was contact stress between the palms of the hands and the edges of the parts and pallets. It is important to note that gloves are worn. The recommendations for the paint line loading position include: encourage workers to always use the prime mover to elevate pallets to decrease posture stress and forceful exertions. Consider aligning the prime mover with the load position on the monorail to minimize walking and to decrease forceful exertions. Investigate mechanisms to push parts toward the end of the pallet to decrease posture stress. Investigate movable hoists for transferring parts to decrease forceful exertions and awkward postures.